we will continue with ProActiveManager and see how we can use it when creating bill of materials. First of all, I have to select the scene, and we have 4 buttons here, and also under the BUM creation we have 3 buttons. These 3 is the same as these 3, and I will begin with this one, Open Settings dialog, and here we have the settings for creation of bill of materials. First of all, configurations. Now there is no configuration at all, but we will see how we can create a configuration. First of all, top level BUM. It means that if I have a large scene with several sub-assemblies, I can use this as a choice that only assemblies will be written in this bill of materials. But as default, it's the parts that will be written in the bill of materials. That's why this one is checked. If you go to the right, we have other options. For instance, include elements having empty part number. And that's good to have that checked, because if I have forgot to add part numbers in some parts, I will see that when I will create the bill of materials, so I can add the part numbers. And also this one, compact layout for structured bill of materials. But you can also include suppressed elements, or you can also include unfolded sheet metal parts in the bill of materials. But this is the default settings, so I will use only parts and these two. So I will click OK. Then I go to the Configuration Manager. Now there is no configuration at all. This is just a beginning of a configuration. To create a configuration, you have to change the name of this one. I will type in default bill of materials, and we'll have these 3 columns: part number, quantity, and description. So if I then close this configuration dialog and I click create bill of materials, I will have the bill of materials here at the bottom. So now we see that we have these 3 columns: part number, quantity, and description, and also see that there are a couple of parts that description is missing. To correct that, I can type in the right name here in the row, but I can also go here to the scene browser, cover, and I will click D to copy the username and paste it in the description. I will do the same with the bushing, like so. Then I can go here and click this button to update the bill of materials, and now it's complete. So this is how it will look like when I will create a drawing and use the bill of materials. So I see that it's complete. So I will close this dialog, then I will create a drawing, and I will use that one, and also use A3, and go to select a view from scene, front, and standard 1:1. OK, and place it here. And then I go to annotation and bill of materials and general English, and I will use this assembly. This is the default assembly, or the bill of materials. So I will use that one. I will select exploded view and parts only, and I will add it to the drawing, and here I have the bill of materials, and we see that it is complete now with all the information I need, because I have already checked it in ProActiveManager. So suppose that I want another bill of materials, a bill of materials with suppliers. Well, I can do that. First I have to delete this bill of materials, and I go back to my scene, and I will use the ProActiveManager, and I will select the scene. I go to configurations, and I will now create a new one. Change the name here to bill of materials and supplier. Then I go here to the columns. I will have part number, quantity, description, but I also need a supplier, like so. So the question is, where do I get the information from? Well, I have to click this cell and then click the drop-down menu. We see here we have a lot of information to pick from the part in the scene. And in this case, I need custom data value. It is from the custom properties in each part in the scene. So I'm satisfied with this choice. I will click Save, and I will close this dialog. And then I click this button to be sure that will select my bill of materials supplier, and I will have only parts and also these two selected. Then I will click Create, and now I have my new bill of materials with suppliers. And I see that there are only one part that has a supplier, and that's the crankcase. So I have to add the suppliers to the other parts too. So I can come up here to the scene browser to click the cylinder. I will click this row, add supplier, and I will click and select the workshop, and do the same with the cover, just to show how it works, like so. Now when I have selected these parts, I will come down here to update the bill of materials, and now we see that we have the suppliers here in this column. So I'm satisfied with this so far, so I will close that one and close the dialog. Then I go back to my drawing and I will update, and then I go to annotation and bill of materials, and now I will look for an assembly or a bill of materials assembly where I have suppliers, but there is no one with suppliers here. So I have to change or modify the one I already have. So I will use this assembly weight to do that because I need an extra column. So select this one. I will select exploded view and parts only and add it to the drawing like so. Now we have weights, but I need the suppliers. So I double click the bill of materials. Then I will erase this title, click in this title just to deselect this one. Then I will double click the E column here, the title cell, and then I will type in the title supplier, and it's very important to spell it right, otherwise it will not work. And it will get the information from the scene from custom properties. So click OK, and I will click OK here, and now we see that we have the suppliers here, and the column is a little bit too short, so I can double click again and I will extend it a little bit. So in that way you can use the ProActiveManager to create your own bill of materials, and to save this bill of materials as a template you just right click and save as template. Then you have a new bill of materials with suppliers. So that's how you can use the ProActiveManager tool to check that you have the necessary information in your bill of materials, or you can create your own bill of materials.